Now in this class of normal distribution, we are going to have a specific discussion that is about determining x value from the given values of mean and standard deviation with respect to a given z score. Let us move ahead. Z score tells you how many standard deviations a data point, say x, is away from the mean. To determine z from the given values of mean and standard deviation with respect to a particular value of x, we use the following formula, that is z equals to x minus mu divided by sigma. Now this is what we have been doing for determining the value of z from the given values of mu, that is mean, and sigma, that is standard deviation, with respect to a particular value x. We get the z score. Now what if in the question z score is given and mean and standard deviation, that is mu and sigma, are also known and x value needs to be determined? So how will you do that? Just in this equation, if you cross multiply standard deviation into z value, one side will be equal to x minus mu, and then when you shift this minus mu to the other side, it will become plus mu. So what you will get, to determine x from the given values of mean and standard deviation with respect to a given z score, what you will do, cross multiply, and you will get x minus mu equals to sigma into z. So value of x will be sigma into z plus mu, correct? This minus mu shifted to the other side, it becomes plus mu. So basically when you are doing this calculation, you may find that the z score itself could be either a positive or negative value, correct? Accordingly, for the positive value of z, x will be mean plus z into standard deviation, and for negative values of z, it will be x equals to mean minus z into standard deviation. Moving forward, we face a question, and the question reads like this: what is standard normal distribution? Is it different from normal distribution? Now, past few classes we have been learning about normal distribution in as much detail as possible. I never explained to you by far where did we already introduce the concept of standard normal distribution in our journey. We have already introduced. Fine. It is this particular aspect that I will bring forward. It is going to clarify what is normal distribution, what is standard normal distribution, and what is going to be the difference between the two. Let me give an example for you to understand this whole thing. Suppose in a class a test was conducted and average marks scored by students, the mean marks, it was 50. So 50 is the mean. Standard deviation of marks is 10 marks. So imagine if I draw a normal curve, a normal distribution, assuming that the data is normally distributed, what will happen? You draw a bell-shaped curve. At the center axis, you always write the mean, correct? The mean is at the center, correct? You should know that in a normal distribution, the mean is at the center. But have you noticed most of the times at the center we write not the mean, but we write 0, correct? We write 0. And then what we do is, to the right and left side, we always show positive and negative standard deviations. But actually speaking, if I have to record the x values, where say x represent marks, then at the center, that is mean, I should show 50 marks, correct? Because 50 marks is the mean in our example. And then if the standard deviation is 10 marks, what comes after mean with one standard deviation? That means mean plus one standard deviation will put you at 60 marks range. Why? Because mean is 50 marks plus 1 time standard deviation means 50 plus 10, 60. If it is mean plus 2 standard deviations, then the mean, that is 50, will be having addition of 20 marks, that will result into 70 marks, and so on. If the standard deviation is taken to the negative side, that is the negative deviation, so mean minus 1 standard deviation will require you to consider 50 minus 10, that is 40 marks. Mean minus 2 standard deviations will require you to consider 50 minus 2 times of 10, that is 50 minus 20, that will be 30 marks, and so on. So when you are plotting x values with the normal curve, it is normal distribution. But when you are not plotting the x values but z values, you know what is z, or how is z computed? Z is computed by taking x minus mu. Mu represents the mean. So x minus mean divided by sigma, that is divided by standard deviation. So if I consider x value as 50 marks and mean is already given as 50, so 50 minus 50 will be 0. That is why in place of mean, what comes in the z line is a 0 value. If it is x line, it will indicate the mean, that is 50 marks. If it is z line, it will indicate 0. Now, if it is x line, to the left and right side of 50, both sides, what you will get? To the lower side of 50, it will be 50, 40, 30, 20, like that. Higher side, it will be 50, 60, 70, 80, and so on. Whereas if it is a z line, at the center it is 0, lower side it will be minus 1 sigma, then minus 2 sigma, then minus 3 sigma. On the higher side it will be plus 1 sigma, plus 2 sigma, plus 3 sigma, and so on. Now, when we are drawing the normal curve with x line, which represents the marks scored by students, it is normal distribution. When I am drawing the normal curve with z line, where mean is replaced by 0 and other marks are replaced by the positive and negative values of standard deviation, then a normal curve with that z line becomes the standard normal curve. Basically, it is the normal distribution. When you are observing the normal curve with the x line, it is the standard normal distribution when you are observing the normal curve with the z line. So what is a one line definition of a standard normal distribution? I can say a normal distribution that has been standardized. How it has been standardized? It has been standardized by replacing the mean with 0 and standard deviations in place of other values of x. So higher values, that is values higher than mean, will have positive standard deviations. Values lower than mean will have negative standard deviations. So let me put forward that whole descriptive answer to this particular question along with the example that I have just discussed with you. So you will write, a normal distribution is a probability distribution that is symmetric about the mean, showing that data near the mean are more frequent in occurrence than data far from the mean. The standard normal distribution is a specific type of normal distribution with a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. Z-scores are used in the standard normal distribution to indicate how many standard deviations an element is from the mean. It is a normal distribution that has been standardized. Let us move ahead and continue further. Standard normal curve. So if I have drawn the x value along with normal curve, where in the example we have considered mean as 50 marks and standard deviation as 10 marks, the mean will come at the center, you know it very well, and to the left and right side of the mean, it will be the lower and higher marks. So it will 60, 70, 80 to the higher side and 40, 30, 20 to the lower side. Now, when I have drawn this normal curve along with x values with mean and other values of marks which are away from the mean, this represents not the standard normal distribution, this is normal distribution. If I have to draw a standard normal distribution, I will have to draw the Z line where the deviation from the mean at the center is 0. So here we are considering mu itself as 0 and the standard deviations to the higher and lower side will be positive and negative values of standard deviation. So basically when I say 40 marks, why it is minus 1 sigma? Because 40 marks would mean the mean marks as 50 and the observed value of x being 40. So you know what you do to get the z value? It is x minus mu. So 40 minus 50 divided by sigma, sigma that is standard deviation is 10. So 40 minus 50 divided by 10 will give you minus 1. That is basically minus 1 standard deviation. If it is 30 marks, 30 minus 50 divided by 10 will give you minus 2. That is how we get the Z scores as plus 1, plus 2, plus 3 or minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and so on. Of course, there can be fractional values in between, and you know, as a peculiar characteristic of normal distribution, the Z values can range from positive infinite to negative infinite, correct? So please do one thing, please write up this whole thing, and with that we will be putting an end to the class.